What's up, video gamers? The Slant's got the lowdown through this new segment called Teched Out. Teched Out features electronic gizmos, gadgets, and plenty, and the Biggie video game reviews. Our guy AC chats with a local expert to learn what's kicking on video gaming consoles.
Well, the weather's getting warmer and spring is right around the corner. But with our two local teams basking in the Arizona sun, we can still get our baseball fixings here with a new game from 2K Sports. Here to join us is Roger Ewan. Roger, first of all, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
So, Roger, what can you tell us about MLB 2K9?
Well, honestly, 2K9 is an improvement from the years before. Unfortunately, I kind of feel that it still lacks the robustness and the polish, actually, more so the polish than the games that you see out there, or the games that are going to be developed. I feel that they have improved quite a lot of things. They've improved the AI to a certain degree. They did some of the bugs that they had before. They fixed some of the graphical errors that they used to have. Unfortunately, it still kind of falls a little bit below the level that I would expect to see after they brought it back in-house.
So this game is available on all major consoles, Xbox 360, Wii, and MLB. There's only two major baseball games that's out there. In comparison with MLB The Show, why would a gamer choose MLB 2K9?
Honestly, I think a gamer probably would stick with the franchise of the 2K9 series because it's been around longer. It's probably been, I'd say around for at least 10 years or so. And the show is kind of something new that kind of came along the last few years. I think it's made by Sony, made by Sony, but I feel that 2K9 has probably got a better foundation currently just because it's been around longer. I'm hoping to see more improvements in next year's version, even though this year's version did bring a little more light to the series.
On average, MLB 2K9 has been ranked about 6.5 to around 7 out of 10. Where would you rank this game?
I'd probably give it a solid 7. We really don't have much to choose from when it comes to baseball games currently on the next-gen consoles. And one thing they do really well, I have to admit, is they do the franchise mode very well. They have like Hall of Fame players. They have all the little things that like a casual to modern baseball fan wants. Unfortunately, the one thing that they do falter on is just the amount of bugs that you run into in the game and the amount of glitches that you might see that might make you feel the game a little less unrefined than it could be.
So for a list of all our games that we just talked about, just visit our website at www.theslant.tv. Thanks, Roger, for being with us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, AC. Roger Ewan has been in the video game industry for about 10 years and still counting. You guys will definitely see more of Roger in future segments dealing with any video game designing and reviews. Flipping the script, we're going to bring you guys into our Plus Movies segment. Connie Lee had the chance to sit down with film director Iris Shim and talk about her current project, The House of Saw. Listen up to learn what this documentary is all about.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Plus Movies. Some of you may remember the 1993 murder of Robert O'Dubain here in Chicago. The story shocked all too many as the tragedy unfolded. The perpetrator was known as the Black Widow in the media. Catherine Saw, the murder victim's girlfriend, convinced her brother Andrew to commit the crime. She was later convicted of plotting the murder, and Andrew was sentenced to life in prison. Although the case had received much attention, no one has gotten Andrew's side of the story until now. I talked with Iris Shim, the director and producer of The House of Saw, and this documentary follows the lives of Andrew and Catherine, both of whom became incarcerated for the murder. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for
having
having
you.
me.
Now tell us the history and sort of the theme behind the whole movie.
Well, behind the movie, it's it focuses on Andrew's story. Up to this point, the media has really been focusing on Catherine's character, the older sister's character, and because she, from the outset, she is the sort of more flamboyant character, the one that really calls for the attention.
I understand you had a screening in this past January at Facets. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was a test screening for a rough cut. Basically, I put a rough assembly together of sort of like the general story arc, and I screened it at Facets, and armed with my questionnaires. I passed them out afterward, and people filled them out, and we had a Q&A session, so I can kind of gauge, what works, what doesn't. And I went home and I tallied up all the scores to see, okay, which parts do people like, which parts are confusing, and using that information, I can now kind of hone down the final version that will be seen.
I see. And what has the response been so far?
I think the most fascinating part of the story is that you tell the same exact story to 5 different people, and you have 5 different reactions or thoughts about it. You have people that really sympathize with Andrew and empathize with him and say, I can totally understand, why he's there and what he did. And there's some people that are very black and white, and they say, no, killing is killing, it's wrong, and there's no mitigating factors when it comes to that. And so because it's such a varied response, it gives way for a lot of discussion. And I think so for me personally, I would really like to use this film as a sort of a catalyst for discussion, and also because I feel like there's this block when it comes to communicating between first generation and second generation, and I think most of our parents don't really know how to talk to their kids. And I think if this film could be used to kind of spark that dialogue, I think it could benefit a lot of people. I think parents and children too will understand that, we need to talk about certain things. We shouldn't just, chama, or we shouldn't just hold it in. We should really express ourselves, and to prevent things like this from happening.
And when can the viewers expect to see sort of a finalized version?
Hopefully in the spring of this year,
okay,
if everything goes according to plan. It usually doesn't, but I'm kind of crossing my fingers for this one. So
great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Irish Jim. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Back to you, Stephanie.
I definitely want to check this flick when it hits the theaters. If you guys want to send some support or see when the film is playing, be sure to go to their website, thehouseofsa.com. When we get back, Chicago Tribe's in the house. Keep it here.